Hello, I'm Magda from I'm a Little Creature. In this Amigurumi workshop, I'd like to tell you something about these three cuties, the cool gang: Peter the dog, Fran the seal, and Xenia the droplet. I crochet this dog entirely. The seal is crochet and sewing. You see flippers are sewed, and this droplet is sewn. I recommend you to subscribe my channel, visit my blog. There is a free pattern for these toys. Firstly, I'll tell you about this dog, then the seal, and finally the droplet. Have a nice watching. For Peter the dog, I used three kinds of yarn because I had it in my stash. You may use one kind, and I crochet the crochet hook 2.5 millimeters because you have a fluff yarn, and the way of crocheting is similar to my Cuties, the black yarn art mink, one skein, or you may use a 1.5 skein because I've run out of this yarn when I crocheted the tail, so the tail is quite small, and I used white and black, so head and body, black yarn art mink, ears the same yarn, white muzzle and paws made from Nako Paris. One skein is enough, and I used this yarn Nako Paris for the cute owl by Little Owl's Hat. In my other Amigurumi workshop, you may watch the video about this cute owl. And for the nose, black Alice a softie. Nose is embroidered. This muzzle also is embroidered with a black floss, and you see the eyes made with a piece of black white felt, and the dots made with a white fabric paint, and a thin brush to paint this white eyes reflection. Crochet hook 2.5 millimeters, as I told you. It's really soft toy. I like it very much. I like these yarns. And you may brush the paws and the muzzle with a Velcro to get these hairy limbs and muzzle. In my blog, I give you a free pattern for this crochet dog. I start from head and body. The way of crocheting is similar to my Cuties. I recommend you to watch the video on my channel about the first part about the Cuties. The muzzle consists of two parts, this oval and this thin top part. When you crochet this main part, and when you crochet the muzzle, you may turn the piece right side out, because when you crochet the fluffy yarn, the wrong side is more hairy, so I turn this right side out. And then after making these two parts, I sewn this part to the main part, and then I pinned all the part to the head to place them better, and then I sewed this muzzle and the top part to the head. Before closing the opening, stuff the muzzle. Embroidering is in the end when all the parts are sewn. Ears are not stuffed, they keep shape really nice. And look at this pose. It's a kind of a square. So firstly I pinned the legs, then check if dog is sit stable, and then I sewed all these legs. And how to embroider the nose and the smile, I'll try to show you with a piece of white felt. Okay, look at this. A nose is a kind of a triangle, so you may start just quickly I'll show you. Firstly make a triangle, sketch it. I'm making it quickly so it's not so nice, but I want you to get the idea how to do this and fill this triangle with Alize Softy. It looks much better than in this black floss for the nose, so use a fluffy yarn. You may add this horizontal line to sketch it, and then work these vertical lines to cover the nose completely. And when you get this nose, I added a scheme in my blog. You see the nose, and it's the same for Franny the Seal, the kind of embroidering. So firstly, look at this scheme and I'll explain you that. And now insert the needle in point 1, take it out, and the point 2, so 1 to 1. In the pattern there is a direction of the needle, 1, 2, 1 and 2. Okay, and then over the muzzle 3, 4, 4, 3, 4 in the center, 4 in the center, but a bit lower to get this semicircle shape, this arch, and really close to this 4 insert, not in the same point but a bit closer, 4, and you see it's a scallop stitch, and then the second scallop stitch on the other side, 2, 5, 6, 6, 2, 5 over the muzzle and 6, 6. It's quite easy. 2. You may you may add the pins before embroidering if you have problems with finding proper points. 5 and a bit looser. 6 and 6. You know, scallop stitch. To make the tail, I crochet chain 4 and work in rows. In the end of each row, work 1 turning chain and turn. You may add a chain 5 as you want to make it thicker. And as for the eyes and the pattern, I give you 2 versions of the eyes. Firstly, I made crochet eyes, but then I changed to felt eyes. I like the felt better. To make crochet eyes, you crochet the white part and then black pupil, and sew white part and black pupil, and then sew everything to the head. Look at the photo of my crochet eyes. They were a bit sticky from the head, so I really like the felt ice, and I glue this with a magic glue, and then I added white reflection with a white fabric paint and a thin brush, as I told you. I think that's everything I wanted to tell you about this dog. Now I tell you about the Franny. Here you see Franny, the seal. For the main yarn I used the Yarn Art Happy One Skein, gray number 778. I know that this yarn is much thicker for the crochet hook 2.5mm. I used the 2.5mm, but I wanted to keep the similar size as my Cuties and the other toys from the Cool Gang. So you may use any yarn you want for crochet hook 2.5mm. And as for this Yarn Art Happy, I used this yarn to crochet my Bears in Love. Free pattern for Bears in Love is in my channel, so recommend you to crochet and watch the video. And you see Alize Softy for the nose. My nose is embroidered to the oval shape, and the same Alize Softy for embroidering the smile, not the black floss, because this white yarn Art Mink cream color is fluffy, so the black floss would vanish amongst this hair. And what else? For flippers, I used gray minky material. The flippers are sewn. You may use also a piece of gray felt and sew it with a blanket stitch. I tell you how to make a blanket stitch. It's quite easy. It's a piece of felt. I'm using black floss to making the knot. 2 strands, and when you have 2 parts of this cut flipper, I'm inserting the needle. You may draw these little dots with a pencil to have the same distance between the stitches. Okay. Or you may use 1 strand if you want to. I'm just marking this. So insert the needle, you have a loop, and insert like this, and here you have a nice edge seam called blanket stitch, and do this around to join these 2 pieces. I used a blanket stitch in my Numberjacks. I recommend you to watch the video about Numberjacks. It's in Polish with subtitles in English. So here is the blanket stitch. You see the scheme for making the muzzle, the first round. The muzzle is the oval, and you're making chain 4. This is the starting chain, 1 2 3 4, and then insert the hook in the second chain from this hook and work 2 single crochet, 5 single crochet in the last stitch, and then work on the opposite side of the chain around 2 single crochet, and these 5 single crochet are in the this chain, and then work around. So just wanted to explain you this scheme, and do the same as in the Peter the dog. Pin it all the parts before sewing, and look at the scheme, the template for the flippers, Polish English, a foca in Polish, seal in English. This is the hand flipper, consists of 2 parts that I sewn, and then I turn the right side out. And for 4 flippers 4 parts, because 2 for the one and the first and 2 for the second. Draw this on the wrong side of material if you want to sew on the sewing machine, or you may cut from a piece of felt and use a blanket stitch to join these edges. Nose, I embroidered nose, but you have the pattern for you may cut from a piece of black felt this nose. And the eyes are the same as all these toys when you're making with felt. This is without seam allowance, so you need to add about 1 centimeter if you want to sew it on the sewing machine. If you are making with a piece of felt, you don't have to add the seam allowance, just cut it and use a blanket stitch. If you want to make this bigger, draw using my template a bigger flippers. I sew the flippers using the ladder stitch. I'll show you in a moment. I don't know is it good to show you on this piece of felt, but I'll try. You're inserting, I start here, you're inserting the needle horizontally. On the other is just a folded part when you have this sewing here, and then on the opposite side horizontal too, on this edge of when you fold the material, and then on the opposite side. And it's really nice because it's invisible when you pull the thread. Oh, you see, it's better to make the knot on the in the end. On the YouTube you'll find lots of videos showing you how to make this basic stitches, this basic embroidering. Look at this, it's invisible. The ladder stitch. Okay. And on this side it looks like that. When you pull the thread, and you see nice seam. And here is Xena, the droplet. This blue material, it's reused material from my son's old jumpsuit. I cut it and use it for this droplet. The eye is the same as in a dog and a seal. Here is the smile. I used the scallop stitch for the smile, as I showed you in this dog smile. As for this template, in my blog there is template. I corrected a bit without this my mistakes. The parts are drawn with no seam allowance, so if you want to sew them, you need to add approximately 1 centimeter for the seam. And template, you may print it in A4 actual size. So this is the front part, 1. Here is this front part. Here is the dart. You need to sew this firstly. Here is this dart sewed, and then the back part. Here is the back part. 2 times in this mirror you need to cut it. Firstly draw on the wrong side of the material. Here is the back sewed in this right and left part sewed, and then you sew in this front and the back here around. Leave this bottom part for stuffing. And then you have arms, 4 parts, because this is the front, up, top and bottom sewed and stuffed. As for the arms, leave the opening on the side of the arm, because then I will join the arms and the body using the kind of a joint with the yarns. So if you sew and add stuffing, sew it using a ladder stitch to make it invisible. If you have ready arms, you insert the needle on this inner part through long. You have to have long needle through all the body, then take it out and through the arm and through the body, so the direction of this is around, to have this connection joint, movable joint. You may move the arms. The opening for the legs is in this place. You put the stuffing and you use the ladder stitch to sew it. And it's quite simple. Then it's better to pin firstly before you sew this arms and the legs, to show if everything is placed okay, and pin the eyes, embroider the smile, and the droplet is ready. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel, visit my blog, there is free pattern for this, a cool gang, and I wish you Merry Christmas. See you in next videos, tutorials. Bye.